The 2025-26 season is starting to inch closer, and I have a question. Can the roster as constructed actually score?
You are Locked On Kraken, your daily podcast on the Seattle Kraken, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey there, Seattle hockey fans. Welcome to another episode of Locked On Kraken, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, where we bring you your favorite team, the Seattle Kraken, every single day, or at least 3 times a week now that we're in the off season. That will last until about mid-September. Erica L. Ayala here, your host of Locked On Kraken, also the founder of Black Rosie Media, and we cover your Seattle Storm over at Black Rosie Media. Check us out on YouTube. But also an accredited media member for Milano Cortina, the 2026 Winter Olympics. I'm excited to dive into a topic that I know I'm probably not the only one that's a little bit anxious when it comes to how the Seattle Kraken team is going to score. As a matter of fact, I know I'm not the only one because we're going to go to our friends over at Sound of Hockey. They've done some deep dive into the numbers that I think is pretty significant and talks about some of the things that I've mentioned here on the show. Then we're going to do our month by month dive into the schedule. I'm actually going to take some of what Sound of Hockey said, relate that to the February schedule to pick what I think is my game to watch, game to circle on your calendar. And then we'll close out the episode with another interview that I was able to secure from PWHL Seattle. While in Seattle, the one and only Meghan Turner, who is the general manager of your new women's hockey team in the Emerald City. So we have an exciting show, as always, here on Locked On Kraken. Let's dive into the depths. And for today's episode, again, stick taps over to Sound of Hockey. If you're not keeping up with what they do, highly recommend it. And so this article is called Data Dump or Data Dump. I guess it depends on how you look at it. Seattle Kraken goal scoring over 2024-25. And I think this is interesting. It looks at our goals comparative to the rest of the league, but also by situation. Also, that includes even strength power play and 5-on-5, while also giving a shout out to shot volume and a particular Kraken player who's signed for the upcoming season that might help us get a little bit better, especially around the net. So let's first just break this down here. If we take a look at the article up again on soundofhockey.com, then the first baseline that you see is talking about the Seattle Kraken in the 23-24 season. And the average goals scored per game kind of had the middle of the pack here, 2.99 goals per game. They had that's 16th in average goals scored, 4th highest improvement in goal scoring from the previous year at a plus 0.38. So although there was room to improve, as this article says, quote, the situation might not be as grim as you would have expected for a team that finished 27th in the league in standing points. Okay, cool. Now the article also breaks down goals by situation, and this is comparative, the Kraken compared to the Kraken, so year over year. So you can see that our highest at even strength was that 2.87 in the 22-23 season. Our highest 5-on-5 was 22-23 season as well, and just edging out on the power play, the 22-23 season is actually the 23-24 season, but not by much. So this is talking about season over season improvements. But let's see where the Seattle Kraken ranked in even strength 5-on-5 and power play goals when it came to the league. And this is where, again, I've talked about this before. Are we comparing this year's Seattle Kraken team to last year or to years in the past? Are we comparing them, or are we measuring success by the field, effectively what the rest of the NHL is going to do? And I think honestly the answer is yes. I think you have to look at all of it to see if this is a quote unquote better team. So in 2024-25, 2.43 goals average, average goals scored, at even strength, 2.05, 5-on-5, and 0.52 on the power play. Now, that is 15th even strength, 13th 5-on-5. However, the power play had us ranked at 23rd. But this is interesting because the article also talks about power play opportunities, where we were 14th in the league, versus power play conversion rate, where we were 23rd. So on the one hand, the Seattle Kraken getting power play opportunities, but not converting, which speaks to the challenges, right, with the Seattle Kraken power play, which is also demonstrated in this graphic right here. I mean, we're keeping company with the San Jose Sharks and the Buffalo Sabres. I'd like to see better. Last season's 18.9% power play rate was on the lower end, but worth noting that Jordan Eberle missed half the season and Vince Dunn missed 20 games. Kraken fans may reasonably expect some bounce back in 25-26 if the power play unit stays relatively healthy. So again, factoring in health, is this, how good, quote, how bad is this? What are we looking to maintain? And that's where this is the metric for me that really tells the story. Shot volume per game by team. And we've got to scroll pretty far down to find the Seattle Kraken. 27.35, 25th in the league in all situations on shots on goal per game. Shoot the puck. And also, Sound of Hockey mentions multiple times that this data comes from Natural Stat Trick. You know that we use Natural Stat Trick data when we break down the games when we're in season. Second lowest in high danger shots. Yeah, these charts, oof, brutal. High danger shots, second to last. Medium danger shots, still bottom. Low danger shots were higher, but they're low danger shots. I mean, we don't want more low danger shots. I suppose it's good that they're shots at all, but to me, this is like, look at the disparity here. I mean, it's massive just when comparing us to the rest of the league. We have to do better. We just simply have to do better at getting high quality shots. Now, does that come at the sake of then the shot volume overall? And those are conversations that we've had about the Seattle Kraken, something to consider. But I think that we have to get more of these shots while also getting this number up. Does that mean in the short term, in the intermediate, or at sometimes that this number might also tick up? It could. It absolutely could. But I mean, just the shots on goal, the shot volume per team, the Seattle Kraken have to do better than that. 25th in all situations. I mean, I want us to be top 15, top 20. Top 20 is probably more realistic, but I feel like in theory that's something that this team can change. And your good friends over at Sound of Hockey also give you someone who could potentially increase that, not just high danger shots, but shot volume. And that is one Mason Marchment. Now, the article goes on to talk about Mason Marchment versus Oliver Bjorkstrand. I've talked a lot about Bjorky in the past. sad he's no longer with the team. But I've talked about Bjorkstrand and his impact, the impact that he can have net front. Jaden Schwartz is another player, and I might actually do one of these side-by-sides talking more about Jaden in an upcoming episode because I think it's worth talking about. But Mason Marchment, you can see, can get you shots, but also goals net front. And that's what this team desperately needs. Yes, we want more shot volume to go up because in theory, right, that could impact and increase the amount of goals that we're getting. But you don't want the shot volume to just go up and we're not getting goals, which is why we want more high danger chances. So could we be better? Sure. And it's probably likely that this team is built, and this is something that we've been kind of alluding to, and I think where Sound of Hockey gets as well. We're looking more at a team that's looking to maintain what it's had in the past as opposed to supersede it. And that's something that was said several weeks ago now in the comments, that maybe this is a team that's being built to be like that 22-23 team. That's an interesting thought that I want to dive into a little bit more. I have to really break down what I think were the successes of that 22-23 team, and why it worked, because I think it's a little bit more nuanced than just looking at any individual stat and likely looking at a few different stats. So we can definitely talk about that. But coming up next on Locked On Kraken, let's do our deep dive into the schedule for February. And I want to take a look at teams that are above us when it comes to shot volume, who we will be seeing in February. We'll get into that coming up on Locked On Kraken. Today's episode of Locked On Kraken brought to you by Monarch Money. Ever wish managing your money felt easier? With Monarch Money, it can. Whether you're growing your savings or planning a big purchase, Monarch puts you in the driver's seat. It's like having your own personal CFO giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money is more than a budgeting app. It's a complete financial command center. You can track all of your accounts, investments, and spending in one place. So in addition to managing your money, you're also building your wealth. I love the dashboards, especially the cash flow dashboard. Cash flow is so important for a business owner. Being able to see that and intuitively follow what the information is telling me is huge. So take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONNHL at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONNHL for half off your first year. Welcome. It's another episode of Locked On Kraken for you Seattle hockey fans. Erica L. Ayala on the microphone once again. We just talked about, can this team score a little bit more? And, it's a big question. I will say that Sound of Hockey, I obviously did not read the whole article to you, but Sound of Hockey does mention with regard to shot volume that although there are teams that performed lower than the Seattle Kraken when it came to shot volume, that made the playoffs, still thinks that it's a pretty good barometer. So there weren't a lot of teams below us, but those teams were Philadelphia, San Jose, St. Louis, Boston, Montreal, Vancouver, and Chicago. So, I mean, it's a little bit of a mixed bag. But again, it's the high volume shots comparative to the low volume shots for me that needs to be a little bit more of a barometer. Again, literally only one team below us when it came to high danger shots. That would be the San Jose Sharks. When it came to low danger shots, the only people with more low danger shots: Florida, Edmonton, Carolina, Nashville, Calgary, LA Kings, Winnipeg, Ottawa, Minnesota, and the New York Islanders. And low danger shots have their purpose to set up, hopefully, high danger shots to set up an opportunity to reset the offense. But that's predicated on your team having the ability to keep the zone, which the Seattle Kraken don't always have. Anyway, I digress. This is what the beautiful dark blue schedule looks like, and we're focusing on February. Now, in some ways, this is an easy one because, well, there's not a lot of games because of something called the Olympics, but I'll still break this one down for you. We start with a doubleheader because why not? I said doubleheader because I'm a baseball fan, but you know what I mean. A back-to-back. We are on the road for this back-to-back. And again, the Anaheim Ducks, a team I think we need to pay heed to. They are not one of the teams that had a lower shot volume than us last season, and I think they are a little bit of a team we have to watch out for. They've been on the rise. Same, I mean, we know what the Kings have been able to do, maybe stalling out a little bit, but still a team that we need to show up for. And then there's this big old break. I'll be in Italy around that time. And then guess what? We come to another back-to-back. Another back-to-back, this time taking on Dallas and the St. Louis Blues. Now, the Blues, again, are a playoff team, but also a team with low shot volume. And we close out the month of February on the 28th with the Vancouver Canucks, also lower than us when it comes to shot volume, but not necessarily a team that we would consider a layup, so to speak. So because of this, I'm circling that St. Louis game. If there was a team last year that we were gonna bump out of position who went to the playoffs, St. Louis was probably that team. We saw what they were able to do in the postseason, definitely made things interesting for a little bit there. So I like it because I think we're in that catchment area if we're going to perform just even a little bit better than we did last season. That's all with a grain of salt because we don't know what the field is going to look like. Is the field going to be better or worse comparative to the year over year performances from last year? That's what year over year means, but you get me. So St. Louis is the game I'm circling. And then just because it's the only home game in February, a return for our Olympians, I'm also circling that Vancouver game. Let me know, though, what games are you keen to watch in the month of February, other than, of course, the Olympics? And don't worry, in this time where the Seattle Kraken as a team are not playing, we at Locked On Kraken will have you covered. We will be following the Olympic tournament on site. Exciting stuff coming up for us, and we will have it all here on the Locked On Kraken podcast. Coming up next, you are going to hear from Meghan Turner. This is audio only, so you'll see some still images for my YouTube viewers. Meghan Turner and I caught up at Rough and Tumble, so you'll also hear some background music, some ambiance. It truly was a beautiful day in Seattle. Rough and Tumble was the place to be for the season ticket holders. And I think Meghan had interesting insights when it came to how she built the team, what she's expecting from the head coach, who we should be talking to at some point next week. So we'll have more from PWHL Seattle in the coming episodes. But also I asked about what is the relationship right now between the Seattle Kraken and PWHL Seattle. PWHL Seattle will be playing home games at Climate Pledge Arena, and we'll be practicing we'll be practicing at Kraken Community Iceplex. So very familiar fans for fans that want to double dip. You'll know where the team practices. You'll know where they play. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. I did not put her on the spot about when we will get the schedule, although I am keen to find out myself. But coming up on Locked On Kraken, you will hear my interview with Meghan Turner, your GM for PWHL Seattle. All right. I mean, we're sitting here. It's a beautiful day in Seattle. Is this your first time at Rough and Tumble?
It's my first time at Rough and Tumble, yes. I am really excited to be here. I've heard so much about it. I know we've had some watch parties here for the draft, so I'm just excited to get in there, have some good food and drinks, and really finally be here. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the market has been waiting for women's hockey for a very long time. I can attest to that. This is a very passionate fan base. I mean, what has the reception been from you? I'm sure you knew some of that, but what has it been to actually be in market?
It's been amazing. So as soon as I touched down, I was big smile on my face. I obviously saw the skyline and all that good stuff, but just driving into the city, I was really excited because I knew I felt like I was entering a new chapter, obviously for myself, but obviously for the league and everything like that. So just really excited to be here. The people have been incredible. Obviously, we've had watch parties without really even the team wasn't even created yet, right? And we already have watch parties. So I think that says a lot about just the fan base and how everyone's really excited for us to be here. And it's certainly, the feeling is mutual.
And so you have a unique situation in which you got to see the league from its inception with a whole new franchise. And on the one hand, I'm sure that comes in handy. On the other, I don't know. I'm just going to ask, is 2 years enough to really get a handle on everything? Do you think you got the ins and outs yet?
I don't think I could be 65 and still not say I figured things out because there's always more to learn. But it certainly has been good to have seen some of the things we did right in Boston, some of the things that we probably would have changed had we known, and some of those lessons learned. So I think it just gives a good background of some good things to bring into this role as to what to look for and things like that in terms of staff and players and how to operate. It's been good to have some established relationships in the league and just already kind of know the systems and how we operate and have that background.
And so now thinking about building a team, right? Now you get to take all of those armchair GM roles that fans like to have fun playing with, and you get to do it for real. I mean, that seems like it's super cool, and it could be a lot, right? Yeah. So what was the process like? What were the things that you wanted to focus on? I know you mentioned lessons learned even early on in the league, but what did you lean into, I suppose, when trying to build an identity for Seattle?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing for me in the locker room was getting the leadership right. Obviously, we had Hillary to start and knew we could build a team, a brand, a market around her. Yeah. So for me, it was getting the leadership on the ice and in the locker room to be able to set the standard, and then just creating a good culture. And we had some early signings that I felt like were key pieces on the roster from a hockey point of view that we wanted to fill in kind of each of the positions. So felt good about that, and then obviously just started filling in everything from the expansion draft to the signing windows and the entry draft and everything. So feel good about where we're at, but it was a whirlwind of June.
I bet. And then thinking also as a general manager, you kind of help be the architect, but you're a few steps removed from what will actually happen on the ice. I mean, there's a coaching staff, and then of course they're the players themselves. So how did you go about that process? Was it fitting people or finding people that you think would fit the vision best? Was it a little bit of that reciprocity of, hey, this is what they're coming in and let's see if that fits the mold? How did you approach that?
Yeah, I think, the first thing I think about is with Steve, right, my head coach hire, because to that end and with that question, he's going to, control what happens on the ice. And so what I was really looking for in that position is someone who I could collaborate with and who we could have open feedback, right? And I want to allow him to have his domain and have some his control over that, but just how we communicate, how he communicates with the team was something I was really looking for in a coach as a great communicator, and he is that, and he connects with people really, really well. It's obviously finding people that fit the vision, but I think just knowing that even if there are some friction points, that you're comfortable with those people, that you can work through that with them.
I want to talk facilities. Yep. So the Seattle Kraken obviously redid Key Arena. It's absolutely beautiful. Everything is pretty new for y'all coming in. And from conversations that we've had with some of their new leadership, new head coach, new GM, Ron Francis is still there, but it does seem like already there's been conversations back and forth. So, we don't have a schedule yet, so I won't put you on the spot completely yet. I won't put you on the spot there, but do you have a sense of how that's going to work? What are the opportunities for y'all to be able to have a space that truly is your own? Are there going to be opportunities to overlap with the Seattle Kraken, maybe when it comes to some community activations? Is everything on the table right now?
Yeah, I feel like it's going to be a really good partnership. It already has been an amazing partnership. We've done some events with Kraken Youth Hockey, so we're obviously in the same facilities, and so there's, you're just required to coordinate with them logistically, but I think just beyond that, it's a relationship business, and it's already been, a very two-way relationship, and they've been really amazing. So I haven't met everyone from the Kraken that I want to meet, but in person. But I'm just excited to really be in lockstep with them, because it's important for us as the two hockey teams to be in lockstep, just in terms of being aligned in the market.
Yes. And then let's come back to PWHL Seattle here. Super early, and I'll probably ask you this question a few times, so just so you've got it there. But I like playing the long game. What does success look like in season 1 at this moment, as we are before any games have been played or schedule announced? What does success look like?
So I will say a Walter Cup being hoisted in Seattle is certainly a success measure, but I think the other success measure that I have is just building a really good culture in a place where people are put in positions to help them succeed, and where they'll find the most success. So whether that's on the ice with the players, or in the staff with the organization. So just creating a culture where people feel valued and they feel like they have room to be their best selves at work. And if they're not, that they know that they can speak up and say, hey, like, help me out, right? Ask for help. So
awesome. Yeah. Well, I'm wishing you the best of luck.
Yeah, thank you so much.
We'll chat again.
Yeah, thanks so much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thanks. Mm-hmm. All right, that was our interview with Meghan Turner, your GM of the PWHL Seattle team. And you heard, of course, this is a team that wants to compete for a Walter Cup. That aligns with the interview that we had with Hillary Knight. If you haven't checked out that interview, or our interview with Kayla Barnes, check out our YouTube page. You can also find it on audio only, and those will be flagged as full interviews, Kayla Barnes, Hillary Knight. I will do the same for this Meghan Turner interview. So if you are interested in just listening to the interview or listening back to the interview, you can do that. So culture and building the identity of the team is the important thing in this first season, which again stands to reason. You talked about, or you heard Meghan talk about leadership being a part of that. And Steve O'Rourke is going to be the head coach, who she feels will be someone that aligns with the vision that she has for this organization. And as you heard, even if there are maybe more, there's friction in certain areas, she prioritized, Meghan did, bringing in people that she could at least, navigate through those friction points with, and trust their point of view, and know that her point of view and vision would also be respected. So let's see how it turns out. But if you listen to the show a lot, if you're an everydayer, if you're an OGer, I am. I don't know if obsessed would be the right word. Maybe for some. I'm definitely interested in process. I think process sometimes is overlooked in sports until we know the results. But the process, the journey, is something that you have to believe in and you have to lean into even before attaining the ultimate result, which again is a championship. we could definitely have this conversation when it comes to the Seattle Kraken. And honestly, I do think this upcoming season is the perfect time to be having just that conversation. So I've been telling you, we got to get Allison Lucan back on the show. This might just be the topic. Also, Piper Shaw, haven't had her on the show yet. I think one of those two, if not both, would be perfect to talk about that, just because Piper, we see her conducting the interviews with the players in the arena, during the game, before the game, after the game. And so I get the sense that she is the one, right, quite literally assigned to help us understand the process, the culture, the vibe around the team. And then there's Allison Lucan, who, like me, knows all about the Tuckman model, and maybe can even bring up some fun data points to explain what the Kraken culture is / will be in this upcoming season. Thanks as always for tuning in to Locked On Kraken. Again, we are in our off season, so we won't have an episode every single day, but we will have multiple episodes a week. So just stay tuned here. And if you like what we're doing over with PWH, or if you like what we're doing with PWHL Seattle coverage, well, one, we will continue it throughout the hockey season. And two, you should definitely listen to the Women's Hockey Report, part of the Locked On NHL channel. That is a Saturday morning episode. Went up a little bit later this week because I was traveling, but usually up on Saturdays for you on the Locked On NHL channel. Again, my name is Erica L. Ayala. If you're not already, please do subscribe to our YouTube channel. Make sure you subscribe on your favorite audio listening platform. Leave us a review. Send me a comment, and I definitely talk about comments on the show. And finally, a reminder to be kind to yourself, be kind to others, and hold fast. Stay true. Loud and proud, we say, let's go Kraken and let's go PWHL Seattle. And by let's go, I mean, let's go and give us a name already, eh? I will talk to you on the next episode. Peace out, everybody.